If we pull it off, it'll have every chance of being a really cracking good piece of entertainment.
(709 AD), a spaceship crashes to Earth, in which there are two survivors, a man and something else that's accidentally set loose on the Viking population.
So not only does he have to adjust to being shipwrecked or marooned on this planet that is thousands of centuries backward from his time, but also he has to find and defeat his nemesis, while at the same time protecting these poor people that don't realize what he has brought into their unsuspecting midst.
I loved Beowulf in high school. The book I loved and always wanted to make into a movie, and was always bouncing around inside my head, but I could never figure out a way to take the audience into that time period and say, okay, there's a monster and I really want you to believe in it.
Beowulf was true, but it was because of this science fiction origin of the story. You get a man-like alien from outer space, dumping this alien creature in the Viking times, joining with the Vikings to fight the creature, and from that came the poem Beowulf. That's it.
Science fiction allows a modern audience to believe in something like a monster and go along with it, suspend their disbelief. And I thought, well, that's why I'll do it. I'll put a monster in the past that way.
Canaan's race is a master humanoid race that has seeded colonies all over, and that this place, this Earth, that is currently in its 9th century, is slowly being brought to civilization by the master race. So there is a relationship, a kinship there. And with his advanced technology, he is able to school himself in the language and customs so that he doesn't appear totally alien to them. He can speak their language, he has a sense of their history, he has a sense of their customs and culture, and can somewhat fit in.
We had a big mountain to climb, which is to convince people, actors, people with money, to gamble on a project that no matter how much they liked the script was a big gamble.
I've always loved these style of movies. I love science fiction movies, I love horror movies, I love things like Alien, I love Predator, I love movies that take you to other different worlds and places, and I've been looking for projects that sort of had that in it. And I read Outlander and I was like, wow, I've been looking for this for a long time.
And since we weren't doing this as a studio film, you needed those things that acted as a sales tool to help do this and define what the film is at the same time.
About a year and a half ago, we put together a team for about 12 weeks of some of the top conceptual illustrators in the world that have just worked on things like Star Wars and stuff.
It was just this great co-op of artists, and we'd have these storyboard sessions in the morning, and then it was like making an animated movie, and then everybody would project the storyboards in the mall, and everybody would talk about them, and the artwork and everything else. It was a lot of fun, and we created the world, and the artwork was just staggeringly beautiful. Had this blueprint for the movie, which was the costumes, which was 99% of the props, the buildings, the whole world, and it was integrated completely. And the beauty of that was we did it without under the pressure of actually having to make the movie yet. We could just design a world and not worry yet how we're going to pay for it.
The movie's really sold on the world and the concept and the creature. People really responded to the whole idea of, alien in Viking times.
What we wanted was an animal. This was an animal. It was terrifying, it was deadly, it was scary, but it wasn't something that would seem incomprehensible. That was another thing. It had to work within the Viking world.
Now that is not a bear.
Because in our mythology that we were creating, we were thinking that, okay, if this is the source of the Beowulf legend, then it had to be something at once both alien to the Vikings, but somehow fit within their own worldview.
What did he tell you? Some lies about a dragon.
I mean, the Vikings had dragons, they had other monsters, they had all these things in their panoply of gods and creatures and demons. So this had to fit within that view. It had to fit within a natural setting on Earth. It had to be an animal, it had to be alien, but it had also at the end to look like it could be carved into the masthead of a Viking ship and belong there.
We wrote a description down, of course, blah, 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 ooh, nasty creature, big teeth.
A lot of people took shots at it and it just wasn't working, and then I befriended a really, really terrific, amazing, really nice guy named Patrick Totopoulos. When you get a Patrick design, you get him in the best sense of the word. And so he read it, and for free, the lad said he loved the idea, and he drew up a design, and we looked at it and said, this is it. It was both animal and alien. It was something that was both terrifying and had a sense of nobility and character about it.
Another thing, detail-wise, on the creature that Howard was very keen on, and it's part of the storytelling, is the bioluminescence. I like the idea that there's a sense of beauty within the animals. I mean, I like to do creatures. I like to design creatures that have a sense of elegance. I think the more beautiful the creature, the more scary it can get. Beautiful, you know, if you follow me, meaning beautiful, that there's an aesthetic about it. It's not just a big blob with like a bunch of ugly teeth, but it's got quite, like we would say in Hollywood, kind of like sexy in some way.
The Morrowind, you know, originally was conceived as a mixture, a hybrid of animatronic work and computer graphics work. And ultimately, because of time and budget and what we needed to do in the movie, we kind of leaned heavily towards CGI. We have built prosthetic pieces or animatronic pieces, like the claw of the Morrowind, the tail, and we've also built some specialty pieces. We've built like the head of the Morrowind, and we painted that green. It's kind of a hybrid. We can do things with this green shape that are kind of like what you would do with an animatronic. It creates interaction with the environment, and you can interact with the actors with it, but yet you put the CGI on top of that.
I mean, you're walking around with a sword and, you know, especially playing my character, I'm meant to be this great warrior, which couldn't be further from the truth. But, you know, like, you get this sort of false sense of bravado, and, like, even walking through the village wearing this kind of outfit and this get-up, it's like a childhood dream. Like, you always, like, play dress-up, but you never really get, like, these amazing costume people to, like, design these things specially around you, and, you know, to have this sort of part written for you. And, you know, it's awesome. All the sword training, the people who are working with us, the stunt coordinators, and it's, you know, it's amazing.
Freya, she's a warrior, and that was part of the sort of main appeal for me, because I've always wanted to do an action film. She's very, very feisty. She can throw a damn good punch. Well, they make it look like I can throw a punch. I'm a weed in real life, but she can wield a sword very well. There's a fantastic sword fight between myself and John Hurt. That's been really fun, kind of to get my teeth into something so physical.
Gunnar is a character that looks vaguely like this. Gunnar Goldfarb is the first Jewish Viking. How you doing? Gunnar might be my favorite character that I've ever played for the following reasons. They talk about me from the moment this picture starts.
Where's Gunnar? Oh no!
For about 62 pages, until I finally arrive. And I'm in there for about 7 pages, and then I'm gone, and they talk about me for the rest of the movie.
Who was that?
That was Gunnar.
Gunnar.
Yeah, they say that through the whole movie. What's the deal with Gunnar? They don't say it like that, but they say it better. What was the question?
This came through, and I read it, and I thought, going by my normal way of looking at any script, if I think it stands a chance of succeeding on the level that it's intended to succeed on, I have a look at it, and of its genre, I thought it was really rather nicely written. It's a good, rattling good yarn, really.
First Gunnar, now us. 3 of my men are missing, 5 are dead. May Odin keep them.
And I thought it'd be probably the last opportunity I'd get at playing Vikings, really. Well, it's not really fencing, it's sword fighting, which is really different because you are swinging it.
Ulfric will be a good man. With you by his side, may be a good king.
There's none of that dinky stuff, it's pretty considerable. It doesn't get boring because there's always something, there's a chicken over there. But it's having a time of its life, that chicken.
Howard McKean was talking about how you have a Viking element and you have a mythological, and he calls it sci-mythic. And I said, it's not just a Viking, it's not a Viking film, and it's not a science fiction film. There's a deeper meaning in this. There's a lot of things that are going on in the world, and some things are so sensitive that once you spell it out, people get blinded. But through stories like this, people can disconnect and find their way to the truth in another way.
It was the will of the gods. It was their destiny.
There is no destiny. There is no gods. It's just me. I felt them. I felt them.
When you have material like this, where the film is strong allegory, that there's a great message here, and I don't want to let that down, because someday, when I'm sitting down in the theater watching this movie, I'm eating the popcorn and everybody's enjoying the movie, it's worth it.
Well, actually, it's Howard that dreams everything, and I have to make it a reality. So Howard had some visions in this movie of various things, from the shield dance, when Wulfric and Canaan are basically having a little bit of a bender with the rest of the Vikings, and they decide to jump up on everyone's shoulders and run from one to the other, from shield to shield to shield. The shield dance was probably the most complicated rig for me on this set. I had to design an oval track system that would take the weight of both Jim and Jack simultaneously and allow them to run from Viking to Viking to Viking. Howard wanted to do continuous shots of them running multiple loops all the way around. So it took a lot of engineering and a lot of manufacturing for us to design the system to allow them to do that.
When I read it, I said this has to be made, and it's nice to be, this far down the path, and there's still some way to go, but I can already see that it's gonna, I really feel like it's gonna be a good movie, and it's gonna be a fun movie, and it's gonna be the kind of movie that I would go on Friday and see the matinee show. And that's all I want.
Filmmaking like this doesn't allow you any room to relax for a minute. It doesn't allow you any room to, you know, the only solution is what you can grab at the moment, and you have to keep going forward. You have to keep pushing. The dream part of it, I guess when I'm done shooting, I have a moment to relax, maybe I'll feel that. But right now, it just is an incredible sense of forward momentum and weight to get it done, you know, with the time and resources we have.
If you truly believe that you write the tale of your own life, then the end is up